A violent clash reportedly occurred in Lilu, a town in Anambra state, between the Biafran Liberation Army, BLA, and an opposing group known as Ebubeagu, with claims that the Ebubeagu commander was killed in the encounter. Meanwhile, a critic have emphasized that such internal conflicts among Biafran-affiliated groups are harmful and that brothers should not fight brothers, urging unity among Biafran agitators. The critic criticizes ongoing infighting among Biafran groups in exile, especially within the Biafra government in exile, BGIE, and questions why people like Dr. Ngozi Orabweze are being accused of hacking ipob databases. Nigerian politicians, especially President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, are labeled as corrupt, and the Nigerian government is accused of manipulating foreign institutions like Finland in their attempts to silence Biafran activists. The critic alleges that the Nigerian government is unable or unwilling to defend its case against Simon Ekpa in Finnish court, claiming that their legal challenge will fail and Nigeria will be humiliated. Internal power struggles within the Biafra movement are highlighted, including accusations that some Biafran top officials are fighting over finances meant for the Biafran cause, weakening the overall movement. The critic insists that Simon Ekpa's legal battle in Finland will result in victory, and says the Nigerian government will be forced to defend itself in the International Criminal Court. He, however, encourages Biafrans not to panic, claiming the Nigerian state is desperate and powerless to stop the global awareness spreading through Simon Ekpa's court proceedings. He insists that the Biafran struggle is difficult but winnable, urging Biafrans to remain strong, united and focused despite external and internal threats. In the early hours of the morning in Lilu, a town nestled within the southern region of Anambra state in southeastern Nigeria, the sun had barely broken the night sky when the echoes of gunfire began to ring through the quiet, forested hills. The town, known to most as a rural community often forgotten in national politics, found itself once again at the epicenter of a violent confrontation that speaks volumes about the deeper, unhealed fractures within the modern-day Biafran movement. This was not a battle between federal forces and secessionist rebels. Rather, it was something more tragic and disheartening. It was a battle between brothers, two armed factions claiming to fight for the same ideal, yet finding themselves on opposite ends of a deadly confrontation. The reported clash occurred between the Biafran Liberation Army, a faction that has emerged in recent times with an increasing presence in southeastern Nigeria, and a group known as Ebubeagu. Ebubeagu, which loosely translates to the fear of the lion in the Igbo language, had originally been constituted by some southeastern governors with federal approval as a regional security outfit. It was meant to act as a bulwark against rising insecurity, especially from criminal gangs and so-called unknown gunmen destabilizing local communities. However, over the years, this outfit has been mired in controversy. Many in the local population view the Ebubeagu organization with suspicion, especially in places like Anambra State and Imo State. It has been accused repeatedly of serving as a proxy arm for federal repression against Biafran sympathizers. Its activities have been linked to extrajudicial killings, harassment of young men, and silencing of activists. What transpired in Lilu was not just an isolated gun battle. According to eyewitnesses and videos later shared across social media platforms, the encounter was intense, bloody, and devastating. People who live near the town's outskirts reported hearing gunshots for over an hour. Local residents fled their homes, some hiding in surrounding bushes, and others escaping entirely into neighboring villages. It later emerged that during this armed confrontation, the Biafran Liberation Army managed to neutralize what they claimed was the local commander of the Ebubeagu outfit. His identity has not yet been officially released by any recognized government entity, but among the fighters and sympathizers of the Biafran cause, news of his death spread rapidly. For some, it was heralded as a victory against what they see as an oppressive and treacherous arm of the Nigerian establishment. For others, it was a painful reminder that the Biafran movement is tearing itself apart from the inside. In the midst of the immediate chaos, one voice rose on social media, calm yet passionate, critical yet filled with hope. This voice came from a known Biafran activist who, though unnamed in the original news piece, is representative of a growing group of voices calling for introspection, unity, and strategic patience. This critic pointed out the saddening irony of the situation, that men claiming to fight for the same cause would find themselves pointing weapons at each other in a small village, miles away from the corridors of real power. He said that brothers should not be fighting brothers. His words carried a weight that many Biafrans, whether on the ground in Nigeria or in exile abroad, felt deeply. He expressed concern about the internal disintegration that now seems to plague the Biafran struggle for self-determination. The critic did not shy away from naming and confronting other issues within the movement. In a striking portion of his commentary, he questioned why there are ongoing accusations against people like Dr. Ngozi Orobweze. Dr. Ngozi Orobweze is known within the Biafran diaspora as an influential intellectual, and she has been affiliated with the Biafra government in exile, sometimes referred to as BGIE. She was recently accused of hacking into sensitive databases belonging to the indigenous people of Biafra, more popularly known as ipob. The critic strongly challenged the basis of these accusations, questioning how infighting and baseless allegations could possibly strengthen the collective cause of the Biafran movement. Instead, he warned that such actions weaken trust, dismantle solidarity, and confuse the very people that the movement claims to represent. As the narrative unfolded, it became clear that the Lilu incident is not merely about a shootout or a single death. It is about a movement at a crossroads. It is about fractured loyalties, about the danger of uncontrolled militancy, and about the high stakes of information warfare within and around the Biafran liberation effort. The critic's concern extended beyond the skirmish to the very heart of the Biafran government in exile. He described a disturbing trend where top officials within the Biafran hierarchy seem more concerned with managing finances than strategizing on liberation. According to him, funds raised through international donations, crowdfunding, and other sources meant to support the struggle for a sovereign Biafran nation are now allegedly at the center of power struggles, secret deals, and backdoor betrayals. He lamented that these financial disputes were turning Biafra into a business rather than a sacred fight for justice and self-governance. In the same breath, the critic turned his focus toward Finland, where a much more public and dramatic part of this entire movement is currently playing out. At the center of that Finnish legal drama is Simon Ekpa, the controversial but charismatic leader who has in recent years become one of the loudest and most polarizing voices in the Biafran agitation. Simon Ekpa is currently facing legal scrutiny in the Finnish courts over a range of allegations connected to his online activities, his broadcasted messages, and their alleged links to violence in Nigeria. Yet, for many Biafrans watching the case closely, this legal proceeding has become more than a judicial process. It has become a battleground for international legitimacy, a test of political influence, and a symbolic clash between African state power and diaspora activism. According to the critic, the Nigerian government is deeply involved in this case, though not in an open or transparent manner. He alleged that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's administration is using covert influence to manipulate Finnish authorities and smear Simon Nyoku Ekpa's name. He claimed that the Nigerian state, despite its power at home, lacks the moral, legal, and diplomatic integrity to convincingly argue its case on foreign soil. The critic went so far as to suggest that the legal challenge against Simon Nyoku Ekpa would ultimately collapse, and that it would be Nigeria, not Simon Nyoku Ekpa, that would walk away from the Finnish courtroom humiliated. He said that this moment could even serve as a precursor to a broader reckoning in the International Criminal Court, where Nigeria might be called to account for years of violence, political suppression, and alleged human rights violations against its own southeastern citizens. In the aftermath of the Lilu incident, and amid the tension of Simon Nyoku Ekpa's ongoing court case in Finland, the critic made a call to all Biafrans, those in the diaspora, those living under curfew in the southeast, those behind microphones, and those carrying rifles in forests. He urged them to resist the temptation of despair. He warned against giving in to the paranoia, mistrust, and internal sabotage that have plagued similar liberation struggles across the world. He said that the path to Biafra was never going to be smooth, but that it was still achievable if pursued with discipline, unity, and clarity of purpose. The critic reminded his listeners that the Nigerian government, for all its institutions and weaponry, is not omnipotent. He argued that it is desperate, scrambling to hold on to legitimacy in a region that has long questioned the basis of the union that formed Nigeria in 1914. He said that despite efforts to suppress the Biafran movement through arrests, military operations, and even international pressure, the awareness spreading through Simon Nyoku Ekpa's trial in Finland is global and irreversible. According to him, people in Europe, America, and Africa are watching. Journalists, diplomats, human rights organizations, and everyday citizens are beginning to ask questions that Nigeria cannot answer easily. Why are young men in the southeast being shot without trial? Why is civil disobedience in Biafra met with disproportionate force? Why are Biafran leaders being hunted across continents, yet terror groups in other parts of Nigeria allowed to flourish under the radar? The critic said that these contradictions are not lost on the international community, and they will eventually catch up with those in power. He called on Biafrans to maintain focus, not just on the dream of independence, but on the process of earning that independence in a way that is legitimate, humane, and visionary. He reminded them that Biafra cannot be built on the ashes of internal wars, that Biafra cannot emerge from the blood of other Biafrans, that Biafra must be a dream so well defined, so well protected, and so well articulated that the world will not ignore it. As the sun rose higher over the hills surrounding Lilu, the gravity of what had occurred began to settle in. The clash that happened between the Biafran Liberation Army and the Ebubeagu commander was not just another violent episode in the southeast. It was a manifestation of deeper wounds, a growing crisis of leadership and direction within the broader Biafran movement. Local residents, most of whom are ordinary Igbo men and women simply trying to survive another day, now found themselves once again paying the price for a war of ideologies that had spiraled into a war of egos and territorial control. In the days that followed the gunfire in Leelu, videos and photos emerged online showing the aftermath of the conflict. One particular video, which quickly went viral across Biafran supporting social media channels, showed a group of young men dressed in combat gear standing near what appeared to be a fallen fighter. One man, who seemed to be the leader among them, pointed to the body on the ground and declared that it was the local commander of Ebubeagu who had been neutralized. There were no visible signs of remorse or regret. Instead, there was triumph in his voice, a chilling pride that suggested this was a necessary victory in a just war. But the people watching from afar, those in Lagos, in Owerri, in Enugu, in London, in Atlanta, saw something else. They saw a tragic unraveling. They saw the undeniable proof that the Biafran movement, once built on unity and historical pain, was now being eroded by internal suspicion, overlapping factions, and tactical confusion. The Biafran Liberation Army, which claims to be fighting for the true restoration of Biafra, now appears to be in direct conflict with other armed groups that claim to be defending the same cause. This growing phenomenon of factionalism within the Biafran movement is not new. The history of Biafra is filled with moments of ideological disagreements. But what makes this period especially dangerous is the proliferation of arms, the anonymity of actors, and the speed at which misinformation travels. Ebubeagu was once meant to protect communities from criminal gangs and rogue militias. Today, its very presence is seen as betrayal by many Biafrans who accuse the outfit of being co-opted by federal forces to suppress Biafran sentiment. On the other hand, groups like the Biafran Liberation Army are operating with little oversight, no unified command, and often conflicting agendas. As this internal crisis deepens, voices from both inside Nigeria and across the diaspora have begun calling for accountability. One of the most vocal among them is a diaspora-based activist whose name continues to circulate among Biafran circles, not because of any armed activity, but because of his consistent and articulate messages calling for a peaceful, strategic, and intelligent approach to Biafran self-determination. In his latest broadcast, he condemned the events in Lilu, describing them as heartbreaking and avoidable. He said that the blood of a fellow Biafran should never be a cause for celebration. He asked why no one was talking about dialogue anymore. He asked why the struggle had become a contest of brute strength rather than a pursuit of political wisdom. He also revisited the accusations against Dr. Ngozi Orebweze, a prominent voice in the Biafra government in exile, and urged people to stop turning internal disagreements into public witch hunts. He said that Dr. Ngozi Orebweze had dedicated much of her life to advocating for the Biafran cause, and that accusing her of hacking into databases without evidence was both reckless and harmful. He said that if Biafrans could not trust each other, then the dream of independence was already dead. He warned that every internal conflict handed more power to the Nigerian government, which had long sought to divide and weaken the Biafran movement from within. This view is not without support. Many within the ipob structure and other sympathetic organizations have expressed concern over the increasing lack of central leadership and ideological clarity. They point out that Simon Nyoku Ekpa's legal situation in Finland is being used as a distraction by some factions to push their own personal ambitions. While some supporters of Simon Nyoku Ekpa see him as the rightful heir to the Biafran leadership originally held by Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, others accuse him of sowing division, particularly through his repeated broadcast calls for sit-at-home actions and civil disobedience campaigns. The Finnish courtroom, far away from the thick forests of Anambra state, has now become a symbolic battleground. Every day that Simon Nyoku Ekpa walks into that court wearing a suit instead of camouflage, he carries with him not just the burden of his personal defense, but the expectations of millions of Biafrans who see his trial as a reflection of their own struggle. Finnish prosecutors, responding to international pressure, have attempted to make a case that his speeches and instructions online have contributed to violence back in Nigeria. But the defense argues that Ekpa is merely a political activist, expressing his views within the rights granted by Finnish and international law. The Nigerian government has remained largely silent in public, but is suspected of pushing hard behind the scenes. Leaked diplomatic memos and testimonies from local activists suggest that officials in Abuja have been in contact with Finnish counterparts, urging them to take stronger action against Ekpa. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, who has inherited a country teetering on the edge of economic collapse and ethno-religious unrest, is said to view the Biafran agitation as a major threat to national unity. For him, a weakened Biafran movement means one less problem to deal with in a long list of national emergencies. But critics argue that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is approaching the issue the wrong way. They say that repression, surveillance and foreign lobbying will not make the Biafran dream go away. They say that the more the Nigerian state tries to silence voices like Ekpa, the more attention it brings to the cause. They say that real unity cannot be enforced through bullets or court injunctions. It must come from dialogue, mutual respect and historical reckoning. Meanwhile, on the ground in southeastern Nigeria, the people are suffering. Towns like Lilu, Orlu, Newi and Equilobia are caught in the middle of a war they did not start.
Bullet na watampa anya umugi na eti enwe na manu na we no be them no Biafra no peace anya mpa afa anya eba ka na gboare hilos ha eba ka na gboare hilos mpa eba ka na gboare hilos ha afa anya na hampa vamos wala kwanda awura ya ba kwanda awura ya ba kwanda awura ya ba vamos ka na agba wala kwanda awura ya ba mpa tagodo fu mkpo tiny ka agbara akụrụ akụ kam akụ ke dapụrụ ya aka ha bụ lunch ha pale ya mpanye kwa long sleeve ndị Ebubeagu dị ihe ya long sleeve le ọbara mpa ọbara ka mgbọla ya lee pale kwa ya blood ha efe nyara ha ebe mpa azụrụ ya woto anyị zụrụ ya woto mpa anyị zụrụ ya woto face to face ilos ha bụ ka ahụ mpa mana efe enya kwara ha ụmụ gị nọrụla ka ikpeazụ a na-efe enya wa anyị dere ebechakwa ya akwụọla ọgwụla eziokwu ọ pụkwala anyị aka mpa biko na ya ntara apụọla anyị aka ka anyị ji alụ mpa
Okay, good evening, Biafrans. There's a news making rounds this evening that our Prime Minister Mazi Simon Ekpa has actually sued Dr. Ngozi Orabueze for hacking the database of IPOB, which is the indigenous people of Biafra. I don't know what is wrong with these people. They don't have anything again to tell you, and that's why they are coming up with all this, their madness. And let me tell you something that you need to know, that what Nigerian government cannot do does not exist. Nigerian government, they are very, I hope you know that Tinubu is one of the most corrupt politicians in the world. He's a ruthless politician and very corrupt man, highly corrupt. Tinubu is a very corrupt man. So whatever they are doing now is crying of a dying horse. They don't have anything to offer to Biafrans, and that's why they are always, trying to bring so many stupid things. You know, when you look at the letter, it's so stupid to the extent that at the end of the day, you are shooting yourselves in the legs. So because he who accuses must come to prove. And I'm telling you, the government is not really going to allow this to slide now, to be honest. I'm telling you. So in few days to come, or a few weeks to come, you will hear the result. And let me tell Biafrans something. People asked me a question: what has this government achieved under Dr. Mrs. Ngozi Oraboeze? And I want to say this to them. Number one, when you hate somebody, you will never see the result of what they are doing because of your hatred, because of your bitterness, because you don't believe that that person can pull any plugs that is positive. That is how you people think. That is what you people think. That is how you think as well. Please, I would like to have one copy, because these people are just useless. They are completely mad people. Mad people indeed. Again, Biafrans, don't, you see, let me tell Biafrans what is going on a little bit. Let us gist. You see the coming out of Mazi Simon Ekpa, Nigeria can no longer sleep, because they would have rather leave him to remain wherever he is, so that they can be lying to you people. But you see, this is coming out. It has scattered a lot of things. Now you know that, one, Simon Ekpa cannot come to Nigeria for any reason. His case will be heard in Lati, Finland, and after then, Nigeria will come to Finland. He will drag Nigeria to Finland, and Nigeria will be dragged to ICC at the end of this case, because Nigeria will not win this case. I'm telling you the truth. Secondly, it would have been better if, you know, Simon Ekpa, if this redeclaration was never made possible. If this redeclaration did not happen, then Simon Ekpa can go to hell. Now, their plan was Simon Ekpa to come to Nigeria so that they can jail him perpetually. I don't know what they promised Finland. I don't know what they have given to Finland. I don't know, and I don't care to know. You see, this case, they can never win it. I'm telling you the truth. They might have planned with Finland to give, you know, Nigeria is fantastically corrupt. They have money to bribe, but they don't have money to boost their economy, and that's why you see Nigerians running away from Nigeria to go to other countries to have a better life, when we have everything in Nigeria. So disregard any information that is coming from that contraction, from that group. They cannot do like more than a dead fly. I'm telling you. You have an MA is just pasmaggering. They are just, everything they are doing is dead on arrival. Excuse me. Everything that they are doing, they don't have swag. So please stop panicking. Nobody should blink. Nobody should flinch for one bit. They do not have the card to play. They don't have those cards. I'm telling you. They do not have those cards. No, a lot of times they come to deceive Biafrans, trying to lie to Biafrans, try to, you know, make Biafrans feel that Madam Oraboeze is a bad person. Nigeria, you must come to Finland. You must come to Finland. You must come to Finland. And I'm telling you, this is not the time of lying. You will come. He who accuses must come to defend. You know, like, he who accuses definitely must come to defend. Sorry, I wanted to get on my feet. I've been tired, you know, I'm coming from. Now, he who accuses must come to defend, and Nigeria must come to Finland, to the international court, to defend themselves. And Biafra, you see, one thing about this case is the world will be watching. The world, for the first time, will be listening to Biafran's case. Thank you for what you do for us, for what you do for Biafrans. You have really proven that you are indeed a man. And likewise, we that we are here, we would never, not any day, not tomorrow, not ever, move backwards one bit. We are here to defend our mandate. And somebody was asking me, you know, can Wisu defend our people? Can Wisu defend our people? Let me tell you something. You see what illiteracy does? Illiteracy makes you feel that you are intelligent. It makes you look as if you are intelligent. But there are so many people that are illiterate-minded, but they know what they do. You know, but some of them, they just bring out their stupidity to show to the world that they are very stupid and myopic in thinking. Now, there is this thing that they call Ogene. Is it Ogene they call it? This thing that they used to hit during our during the olden days, where if we want to call for meeting, they will go and be hitting that thing early in the morning, and the tank crier will be hitting it and be calling. If they want to see also by so time, and I witnessed those things, and when they hit it, everybody will now come out, you know. And I have been in Lagos State where OPC was operating for some time, and they used to use whistle. Anytime they see thief, they will start blowing their whistle. The first person will blow it, second person will, the third person will blow it, and everybody will start blowing it. They will know that there is danger around. The thief will not escape. So people will wake up and be alerted, and everybody will come out and see what is going on and have a way to defend themselves or to go after the criminals. Now, in a way, they were able to use it. I was a witness to that. They were able to use it to curb insecurity a little bit. Well, here is our own case. Everything we bring out, this woman brings out, they try to sabotage. They try to sabotage just because they have been paid to do what they are doing. And thirdly, I need you to understand that this is Biafran's liberation. It's not an easy fight. Do you see how, since how many years they kidnap Mazinand? They can over 5 years, and the people in DOS, they have been fighting tooth and nail to bring this, you know, redeclaration of independent state of Biafra to the news of their stupidity, but they weren't able to pull that plug. Actually, now, Nnamdi Kanu has been in detention for over 5 years. They are still fighting to anybody that stands up to fight for this liberation. They continue to fight. Now, it is not an easy task. Now, Mazi Simon Ekpa came out the 14th. Madam Oraboze came up. They are fighting her to tell you that it is not an easy fight. But we are winning this game, and we have the card. We will win this game. So nobody should flinch. Nobody should shake. Brothers and sisters, I would like to draw my mic here. So that's just what I have to tell you guys. Stay blessed. I'll see you guys tomorrow.
Moral lesson, always have plate number. JK boy present. Yeah, that blocker. Hey. May the boy just come. May look at jam you, Jesus. Make I go back. Oh. This boy go scatter him motor. Move on, come on, they no press on, girls. No be like just they go like that, they no reach. Fuck the cops, man. It don't tell them, say come on, raise. Not gonna go catch me. You don't see, it all does stand come on too.
This is the end of our news update. Please click the icon on the top right corner of your screen to watch my next video. You will enjoy it. I will see you again in my next update. Enjoy the rest of your day. Goodbye for now.